So, welcome to another episode of Soulful Sips and Spills. I am Joanna, and this is my co host, Megan. This episode is going to focus on a topic that we both love, where mental wellness meets inner wisdom, intuitive psychology. This is going to be your space to breathe, reflect, and reconnect with the part of you that already knows how to heal. Today's episode is a gentle invitation to explore intuitive psychology through the lens of mental wellness. We'll talk about what it means to care for your mind holistically, not just through techniques and tools, but by learning how to listen to your inner signals and trust what you find.
I'm so excited.
Yes, well, and as we've discussed before, Megan and I have recently studied intuitive psychology, and we are now master intuitive psychology coaches. So this is a topic that is very close to our hearts, and we love
Mm.
to discuss it. And I think it's so important to bring it up and have a discussion because there are so many people that don't actually know what intuitive psychology is and how it can help them. So, without further ado, when we talk about mental wellness, we often think of stress management, emotional regulation, therapy, and mindfulness. These are all important pieces, of course, but there's another layer that often gets overlooked: your inner guidance system, your intuition. Intuitive psychology isn't some mystical concept. It's the practice of blending mental health science with your body's subtle cues, gut feelings, emotional patterns, even fatigue, to better understand what your mind is trying to communicate. Have you ever had a moment where something just didn't feel right, even if it looked fine on paper? That's your intuition working. It's not irrational, it's often your nervous system picking up on something your conscious mind hasn't caught yet. At its core, intuitive psychology blends traditional psychological frameworks like cognitive behavioral principles and trauma-informed practices with the deep, often quiet knowing that lives within us. Some might call it a gut feeling, inner guidance, or even spiritual alignment. But whatever you name it, intuition is real, measurable, and powerful. Studies in neuroscience show that our bodies often register information before our conscious minds can make sense of it. That's intuition, our nervous system picking up on patterns, signals, and emotional cues that our mind hasn't yet put into words. When I tell people about intuitive psychology and the type of coaching that I do, I often get met with responses like, "Oh, you're a witch. Oh, that all sounds a bit woo-woo, not for me." But to me, it just shows how much we have lost touch with our intuition and the ability to listen to ourselves in this modern world. What about you, Megan? Do you get the same sorts of responses when you tell people the sorts of coaching you do?
Wow, yeah, I have had a multitude of responses. I have had some really eager and open, enthusiastic people that are like, wow, that's so interesting, or like, that's exactly what I need. Like, holy shit, like, whoa. But yeah, I've also been really met with like, oh, like, oh, I think almost oh, you're just another coach, or like, is it just a name? Like it's, some people have almost, because things have become a buzzword, I've
Yeah.
sometimes felt like I've had to advocate at first. Like when I first started studying, I almost felt like I had to advocate that it was a real job and that it like, held value and meaning. But actually through the deep, deep journey we went on, I realized
Yes.
just how powerful you are, and you're not just a
So
coach.
powerful.
Like,
Yeah. The
yeah.
answers are within. I truly believe that now. And
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not
Mm.
going to lie, when we first started doing this work, I was skeptical. Some of the techniques, I was like, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But give us our due. We
Hmm.
went all in, we were committed, we tried everything. And I can honestly say it is powerful, powerful stuff. I wouldn't call it magic. I believe we are all magical in our own individual ways. and the magic is already within you, and you're just simply bringing it up to the awareness, bringing it up to the surface and getting awareness of it. So
Mm.
yeah, just such powerful stuff. And I love to see clients go through the motions. When they start off in the sessions, you can see that they're a little bit skeptical of it and the types of techniques that you're doing.
Mhm.
And then when they start getting results from it and they have the aha moments, it is so satisfying to see people going through that. I love it.
Yeah, of course, especially if people have not been exposed or kind of heard of intuitive psychology or even mindfulness or journaling,
Yeah.
like some people have never come across different ways of healing or are maybe focused on more traditional senses like psychotherapy, talk therapy, accessing, those kind of services, medication, which I believe all have their place. Like just the traditional ways of healing is more
I
like,
knew what
you
you
go
were
to the
meaning. You
doctor.
were talking
Yeah,
about like the
like,
Western way, and
yeah.
they've all got their place, and sometimes they're
Hmm.
needed, but actually, sometimes you need to sit and
Yeah,
look
thank you.
within to get the
Yes.
answers.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because I feel like in the Western culture, it's very like we'll just mask something or we
I'll
want
put a
something
band-aid on
quick.
it.
Yeah, and we want something so quick as well, like that Amazon Prime next day delivery. Like we don't want to sit with something. And I heard
Yeah.
something, I feel like on a podcast when they were saying about how, say, when you're training for a marathon, intuitively, you know that this process isn't going to take a few weeks. It may take months or even years for your
Mhm.
body to prepare itself to train, on a consistent level or like to keep practicing and endurance. Intuitively you're not going to run a marathon in one day or, what I mean. And he was saying, when it's something physical like that, we can all of a sudden almost step away and go, oh, yeah, this is going to take time. But when it comes to, say, journaling or meditation or doing the inner, maybe sometimes uncomfortable work, when we close down our eyes and we feel that sadness, we go, oh, no, no, sorry. And we interrupt it and we don't want to feel that.
Oh, 100%. And I think, that it's that saying you've got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. You've literally got to sit with it for it to, go through all the motions, really get vulnerable, feel all the feels, and then let it go. And that's why I love this, intuitive psychology, because it is exactly that. But I feel like when we're coaching people, we're not, dropping them in at the deep end and leaving them there to sit with all this, years of pain that might be there. It's, very strategic in the way that the sessions are all about that person. They come in, they set their intention, we work on that in that session. So it's completely guided by them. And then they are then able to process, whatever comes up in that session. And then we do the integration work in between, which I used to think was a chore and was homework, but now I think it's beautiful. You're just really integrating what's happened in the session, journaling about it, maybe just sitting in nature. They call it
Mm.
meditating. They call it meditating. People call it meditating, but really you're just sitting there processing or simply just sitting with nothing, just letting everything go. And it's just, oh, just amazing. It's completely changed the way that I, you know, think and do things now.
Mm.
And it's really highlighted for me how much I was disconnected from
Mhm.
myself and how much that impacts your mental health. And earlier on, you were saying there that, you mask and you band-aid, and that's what the Western culture loves to do. You go to the doctor and say, oh, I'm not feeling 100%. I've had a really bad time at work and, whatever else has come up. I mean, I went about 2 years ago now, and so I'd had my little girl and I was back at work. It was really stressful. I was trying to do the juggle. Instead of any sort of coaching or anything, she was like, oh, I could prescribe you these anti-anxiety medication. And I was like,
Mm.
oh no, I'm all good, thanks. And she was shocked
Mhm.
that I wasn't like, gimme, gimme, gimme. But I have always been a person, I'm like, I don't want to mask what it is. I'm also one of those people that are like, doomsday. So like, what about if the world ends and then there's no prescription drugs anymore? Then I'll be in a real pickle because I won't have access to them. So I'll just keep doing as I'm doing because that would
All
be
that
far worse for me.
strategic. I really resonate with that actually, and I've had similar experience, and I really feel that not perhaps frustration, but that almost like, really? Like, is that
Yeah,
your
like I'm
first port of
wanting,
call?
yeah,
Like, I'm
that's what
asking for
you're,
something else.
yeah,
Like, I'm asking
yeah.
for something deeper. I don't just want to, as you say, mask it, bypass it, like just cover it up. Because ultimately, when I don't have that medication or,
What's going to
access to,
happen?
yeah, to that, what I'm
Yeah.
just going to be the same, if not more, whatever label, more anxious, more depressed, more
Yeah, and even if you don't have the doomsday scenario there, what's going to happen in the long run? So I'm on this medication, so am I just on it forever now? Like, at what point am I coming off of this? Am I
Mm-hmm,
just gonna, are we going to have to ramp it up because, oh, my work load got even busier, so now I'm going to have to ramp up the medication because I'm more anxious? I just don't
yeah.
know, where it
I,
goes. Like, there was no plan in place. It was just like, try this for 3 months and see how you go. And I'm like, okay, but what happens after? Like, I was looking for a
mhm,
more structured plan in place. Like, what happens after the 3 months?
mhm,
I come back in, you're going to give me more. Like, there's no plan around it.
mhm.
This is why this work means so much to me because through it, I have learned to be more connected to my body. I know when I get a really big workload, I know that it impacts my mental health and I need to take more time for me. Whereas I wasn't doing that before. I was still, racing ahead, trying to get everything done. And, this work has allowed me to see the triggers, what sets off, like if I'm feeling a bit like jittery, like a little bit of anxiety, like, oh, everything's falling apart, like I've got too much on. I know that it's just that I need to take some time for me. And usually I'll go to the infrared sauna, the plunge pool. Oh, it's the best. Anyway, I've already raved about this on another episode, so I better not. I'm gonna keep on moving on.
Don't
But yes, the
start off on
sauna.
that. Don't get started. No,
Don't
I
get started.
love
Just,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
just amazing.
I really love what you said just about how you've been able to just reconnect to yourself and actually how you feel, not any external sense, and just also, but also when you've caught yourself, maybe getting caught up in that, you've been able to reconnect back in and actually ask, what do I need? What is it? What's going to
Yeah,
be good for my mental wellness? And yeah, I also, just to go back to what you said earlier about the no plan in place as well,
yeah,
when you were speaking to the GP, I have I have had such like maybe mixed bag with that, and but I also do agree that I've that is one of the main things that happens, is it's just a prescription, and it's like, oh well, let's just see how you are in 3 months, and you could be, in quite a pickle there, and
yeah,
there's almost that no continuity of care. For me personally, I had some really, it was 2019, so a couple of years ago now. I had actually just broken up with a boyfriend who was quite abusive, very toxic relationship. So, as you can imagine, I was quite a shell of myself. I didn't trust myself. I was not connected to my intuition. It was screaming or whisper. It was trying, like it was in a chokehold, like, come listen to me. And I was just like, shut up. You're getting us in. Shut up, man. Like, no, I really was not connected. And I had given all my power away. And I remember even in that GP surgery, kind of pleading, going, you're not going to care until I'm 6 foot deep and you say, oh, I wish I would have listened, or I wish I would have helped her. Because I don't want just a prescription. Like, I was trying to fight to like go to a course or to do something to get some
mhm,
substance. And actually that was the catalyst of me rediscovering myself and building myself back up, and say finding, as you mentioned, say the infrared sauna, or things that really, it may seem different or may seem unusual to some, or like journaling. Why would you want to sit there and like, like I had people, I don't know if you did, but I had people like, oh, is it like your diary, like, dear diary, I did this today, and I was like, and even if it is, even if it is, you
Yeah, it's for
know,
you, it's making you feel
yeah,
better.
it's for
So yeah. And
you.
I think that's the thing. When you get connected to yourself again, other pieces fall away. So like what people think or their opinions doesn't matter so much to you
Mhm.
anymore. That falls away and you're just like, oh well, you do you over there and I'll do me over here. Each to their own. And I think that's the really important piece. But when you look at today, we are so disconnected from ourselves. The Western way is very much, productivity, masculine,
Mhm.
that's masculine energy, being really productive. And that's the issue with today. We've got, the Western way where it's you've got to be a high achiever, get all your goals, really that masculine energy. And lots of people that come to me, I can just tell that they're just, go-getters. They're just constantly on the treadmill, like got to keep going, 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 going. And that's what society sees as, really good. But we've just become so disconnected from ourselves because from not listening to what we need, we have just forgotten
Mm.
that what we
Mm.
need is inside us and we look externally for things to make
Yeah.
us happy.
Because
And
we're
one of the
rewarded
root,
for it, right? Like, if you stay
yeah,
at work
exactly.
late and you're the first one
Exactly.
in and the last one out, it's
Yeah.
almost that like, oh, yeah, like they're so good. We attach all these labels, don't we? And yeah,
Yeah,
as you say, we
exactly.
outsource. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, look at Megan. She's been
Mm.
here every day this week. She's not worked from home at all and she's been here from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
She's even
Megan doesn't have
answered
a life.
emails like outside of hours and like, blah, blah. And it's like,
Yeah.
good for her.
Good
Cool.
for her, but she needs to go and do some
And
work and
uh,
reconnect with herself then, because you're
yeah,
not telling me she's happy when she's spending that amount of time at work.
no,
Okay.
and don't get me wrong, hold my hands up. I have actually been one of those people. I've been, the
Oh
first one
yeah.
in, the last one out, and I've really over like kind of taken it all home and been doing it. And also it would be that you start work at 8, right? And it would be like, but you actually get there like 15 minutes before and you've got to set up or you've
Yeah.
got to do this and it just, whereas now, say if I were to go, I was doing that sort of job again, it's one of those that like I go when it's fucking when the clock says.
Yeah. Oh,
No.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that is the thing, right? Like, oh yeah, you'll be here 15 minutes before, and oh, you won't leave at 5 o'clock when you finish. You'll leave at 10 past 5 because you'll have to tidy up.
Yeah.
You'll finish at 5 and then you've got to tidy up your station or whatever you're doing.
Hmm.
So yeah, but
And as you
no.
say,
I'm
we're
here
just
to
we're
say it's time to change.
yeah, and as you say, we're so disconnected when actually everything is inside. Like everything
Yeah.
you need to know. You're
All the answers are within. Yeah.
yeah, and I want to also stress as well, and I know you said it at the start of the episode, but obviously just how amazing your intuition is because it's so much more than just that gut feeling or a nudge, like it is your internal guide la, 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 la. Your intuition is your internal guidance system. It will not steer you wrong. Obviously, don't get me wrong, sometimes what it shows you might frighten you a little bit. It might be a bit like, oh God, am I ready for that? Can I do that? And it might not make sense, but it's not, it doesn't always have to make sense. Like you don't always have to explain it, is maybe what I mean. Sometimes you can know something and have a resonance and go, I know exactly what I need to do. Like
Yeah.
I've got it. I that feel, yep, got it. Sometimes it can be a full body yes.
Yeah,
I've really
definitely.
struggled to explain sometimes intuition before, but it's your innate ability to trust, know, and heal.
Yeah, you
It's
just know when
mm,
something is right, you just know it's right. When something is wrong, you just have this feeling like, oh, this just feels off. It doesn't feel
mhm,
right. But so often people don't listen to that now. We've got this disconnection, and it's one of the root issues why we have mental health struggles and why there are so many mental health struggles is because we're so disconnected from ourselves. I mean, anything ranging from anxiety, burnout, depression, it's all to do with being,
mhm,
disconnected with yourself. And I think, as we were saying earlier, because we live in such a productivity obsessed world that rewards doing, and over being, it actually has taught us to be numb instead of feeling all the feels. So really, it's no wonder that we lose touch with our inner compass because we are actively numbing it out because it's not nice to feel something that's uncomfortable. And we've got so used to not feeling uncomfortable that now, whoa, I don't like that. Step
Mm-hmm.
away.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, I want to feel comfortable. Oh, I'll just block that out. It's got to that point where we're so disconnected that I would actually ask, are we really living? Because we're not feeling everything that's happening. We're
Mm-hmm.
not really feeling all the feels. And if I truly believe to have like a continued happiness, you need to have bad days too. You need to be able
Yeah.
to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
And if you have good days all the time, they're not going to feel good. They're
Mm-hmm.
they're just going to become the normal.
Yeah, you cannot be like all high vibe all the time. You cannot,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's like the bit I know I've struggled with this, like when I first sort of delved into healing or spirituality, like mindset, what have you, was this like you need to be a high vibe. You need to be a high vibe if you want to be like manifesting. Blah, 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 blah. It's not possible. We are human. We're living a human experience in a like in this human body in this vessel. Like we're operating here,
Yeah, yeah.
and oh yeah, I just
When they say you need to be high vibe, your vibration needs to be high. But
mm,
that doesn't mean that you can't have bad days where you
no,
might have a little cry because something hasn't quite panned out. It's
yeah.
completely normal.
But you need to
And I just
feel
think
that
it's,
because if you're going to
yeah,
hold it, you're going to then build resentment. Like the kindest people are the sickest people because they're the ones that are never saying no and overstaying, and then like they're holding that all in, and that's when you get sick.
yeah. Oh, so true. But I do have good news here, Megan.
Great.
Reconnection is possible. And it often starts with learning to listen again, just really slowly, gently, with compassion, listening to yourself, to your body, what it needs. And if you take it back to when you were a kid, your intuition was, you deeply trusted yourself, didn't you? Like when you were hungry, you knew you were hungry. When you were
Mm.
tired, you were tired. When you were scared, you would voice it, joyful. Like when I look at my little girl, she's so excited about, things and like, oh, yeah. And then she's
Yeah,
really feeling everything. When she's scared, she's
yeah,
voicing it, telling me that she's
yeah.
scared. And we start to lose it. We start to mute those goals. And it is the way that society, like, oh, don't be a crybaby.
Hmm.
Don't do this. Don't do that. Oh, you're late again. Like, and then you start to,
Mm.
all, and you're just, oh God, feels like, and you just start to like
You
mute it
choose a
out.
choose attachment as well, don't you, over authentic, like over your innate needs? Because as you say, as a baby, babies, or maybe even Madison, your little one, will even confirm this for us, but children do not care whether like mummy has had a good night's sleep. Like if they're hungry, like you bet your ass they want something. Like, do you know what I mean? They don't care if
Yeah,
mum's hoovering or cooking. It'll be like, hello, hello. Like, they don't care. They want their needs met
yeah.
unapologetically. But as you say,
Oh,
along the way, we get disconnected and we start
yeah,
to
we do.
choose.
We do. At the beginning, we were asking ourselves, how do I want to feel? What do I need? But then we change to what do they need? What do they need? What do other people need from me? What do they need from us?
Hmm.
And I think that's when we mute out and we really start to disconnect from ourselves. But intuition never leaves us. It's always there. It's in the shadow. And as we've discussed before, the shadow is our unconscious mind. It's all storing all the memories, all the different parts of us. It's, shadow, often people think of it as a bad thing because it's dark. It's not bad. It's just
Hmm.
simply the items, the parts are
It's
just
just not in your
in
awareness, is it? You
in
need
the
to physically
darkness.
shine the
Yeah.
lantern on
And
it and
this,
bring it into your
yeah,
conscious awareness. because there are different levels of
Exactly.
consciousness within your mind, you know. You're running pretty much on autopilot 95% of the time, and only 5% of your mind is conscious, which is quite frightening to
Yeah,
think, isn't it? So, yeah.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
sorry, yeah,
So
as
it's
you were
just all
saying.
about really quieting down the noise, really starting to bring awareness back to ourselves, looking within for the answers, bringing, the shadow into the light,
Mm,
and really just having a better awareness and connecting to that so that we know who we are within. And
yes.
that's why I think, intuitive psychology is just phenomenal. It just has the
Hmm.
most amazing results. It's not, trying to band-aid or mask anything. We're not sugarcoating it. We're really getting down to the nitty-gritty, who you are. And I think
Hmm.
the other piece that I absolutely love is nobody's journey is ever the same because we are all so unique and we just go through all these different transformations, and it's just fantastic to see the results that each individual has. So I'm sure you're wondering, how do we rebuild the connection with our intuition? And I think my top three things would be to do body scans, to really sit with yourself, spend a few minutes daily noticing any sensations. Is there a tightness in your chest, maybe a flutter in your tummy? Learn the language of your body, really tune in and listen to what your body is telling you. There's lots of good scripts as well that you can listen to, like on Spotify. There's some body scanning. Yoga Nidra is also a really good one. I like to do that at nighttime so that you can really start tuning into your body and listening to it.
I was just going to ask you to expand on that. Say, when you're doing these body scans, would you recommend, getting yourself somewhere sort of nice and safe and secure? Maybe would you keep your eyes open or?
Yeah, so I would say do it with eyes closed so you're really focused just on your body.
Hmm.
And yeah, somewhere nice and secure, somewhere you feel safe, somewhere that's quiet, you're not going to be distracted, somewhere that's comfortable. And yeah, closing down your eyes and really just listening to whatever comes up for you. Don't overthink it. I always just say, just take what you get.
Mm,
That is your intuition speaking. As soon as you start thinking about it too much, you've jumped out of your body back into your mind, and we want to be deep in our bodies. So,
mhm,
yeah, I would say to do the body scan, probably want to spend a couple of minutes just sitting quietly, really letting go of the day, whatever's happened in your day or your week, just being here in the moment, then closing down your eyes and just running through from your head, just having a think across your shoulders and down through
mm,
your chest, your tummy, just thinking about all your parts, your hands, your fingers,
mm.
and just right through the whole
Yeah.
body, and just really taking time to see what comes up, just noticing any niggling. Sometimes people even find words come out to
Mm,
them. It might be colors or shapes that come to you, and just really sitting with that and just going through, not overthinking it, just
mhm.
yeah, taking what you get.
That is a really great way of starting to build that connection with yourself, as you say, because we're all so unique and we all have our own guidance system. It's not that nobody, it's not like me or you just have access to intuition or to like the answers within, everybody has access to their intuition or to the connection within their body. But especially if you haven't done it for some time ever,
Yeah,
it's not something that can just be, don't be put off maybe if when you've closed down your eyes and you've got into a safe space that actually maybe there is silence or there is discomfort or there are tears perhaps, don't
yeah,
necessarily be put off by that, because remember, you may have never you may have never allowed yourself to sit in silence. I know for myself, I realized just how much I have something playing in the background, like a podcast or,
mm,
like something on the telly or things like that, because I obviously did not want to be alone with myself, because my brain was just always like like 94,
Yeah, it
like
doesn't stop.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's another important point to note is that if you do get thoughts creeping in, that's okay. Simply observe them and let them
Mm,
go. You know, we're
mm,
just being here in this moment, and it is totally natural that, you know, thoughts would creep in, especially as you're saying, you know, you hadn't sat in silence for such a long time. Anyway, another practice that I love is journaling with prompts. Trying to write without censoring
hmm
is amazing. Just really getting everything you've got out onto the paper can really help you process what's going on for
mm.
you.
I love a
Prompts
brain
like,
dump.
yeah, and I think if you've got
Mm,
prompts as well, it really prompts you, funnily enough, to think about things that are potentially uncomfortable. So, what do
yes.
I need right now? What am I pretending not to know can really unlock clarity. You want to really try and
Mm,
get clarity from your situation, hone in on a specific area that you're interested in finding out about, and really journal to investigate what's going on
mhm,
for you there. And that can help you um, prioritize what you
mhm.
need right now and listening to your body.
Yeah, yeah, just allowing yourself to build that connection with yourself. And as you say, like getting to know yourself and those parts as well.
Yeah, and I think for people that have not journaled before, it can be really difficult and it can be quite overwhelming to think, oh God, I'm going to get this notebook and this pen. What am I going to do with that? Or what does journaling look like for you? It might actually not be a notebook and a pen. It might be
Mhm.
typing it out on your computer. It all looks different for everybody. It might
Yeah.
be notes on your phone.
Yeah, please
You
don't
might
restrict
have,
yourself in that way because I
yeah,
did that for so long that actually like I had to sit there with my notebook and pen because yes, like writing with a pen and paper, you can't beat it. It is therapeutic, like it is. It is. It's great. However, if it's stopping you from journaling, find a different way. Find a
yeah, do
different
what works
way.
for you.
Yeah.
It shouldn't feel like a chore. It might
Mm.
feel a little bit uncomfortable because things that
hmm
you're journaling about are making you feel uncomfortable, but it
hmm
shouldn't feel like a massive chore that you end up not wanting to go and do. So find what works for
hmm
you, what is easy to do and feels easy to you for
Mm.
starting out journaling. I
For me,
think
I've even used my notes on my phone. Like if I've been out
yeah,
and about and I've got a download, like I've used the notes app or as you said before, like typing it out because it's quicker or I've
yeah,
even used the voice memos and just played myself a voice
yeah.
note like, hello, do you mind, babes? I'm just going to tell you how I'm feeling.
Yeah, and I had a lady that she didn't have good strength in her hand. So writing for her what began to get painful.
Mm,
So she was using audio
yeah,
every time, audio
okay.
recorder. And that's how we got around it with her because she was like, ah, and she never said at the start that she couldn't use
Mm,
her hand that well. But through it, I was like, how's the journaling going? And she was like, oh wow, it's not. And I was like, oh, okay, let's talk about that. And that's when she said, and I was like, okay, let's see if we can find other ways. And she
mhm,
found the voice notes amazing.
mm.
She loved that she could go back and see
Yeah,
what she had said from
yeah.
before. And I think that's such a good reflective piece, right? It's when you can go
Mm,
back and you
mhm.
can be like, oh God, I felt like shit that day. Oh, but I feel great now. And you can measure,
And you
you
can see
know,
what's going
what's been
on for
going on.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. And I love also what you said there about looking back on it, especially as the audio, because you can even get it like transcribed. Like,
yeah,
there's so many great things with technology now. But I think that just amplifies or cements, shall I say, finding your own way with things. Like if it isn't working for you or it feels clunky and as you said a chore or a bit like oh I can't or it's actually causing you physical pain like don't do that. Find a different way, find what works
yeah.
for you to expel. And that actually, hey, maybe if you love writing, you find out you love handwriting. Actually, maybe it's not. Maybe it's drawing it out. Maybe it's speaking
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah, there are so many different ways to connect to yourself. And I think it really is about trial and error, trying different
Mm.
things, seeing what works for you. What works for one person won't work for another. And I am a firm believer that for it to be a continued practice, you need to be able to enjoy it somewhat. It needs to feel easy to start doing it. Otherwise, you'll just let it go. It won't become, a firm routine. The other one that I really like is called the pause practice. And that is when you need to make a decision, you pause and you ask yourself, is that a yes in my body or does it feel like a no? It might not be a yes or no decision, but you might say things like, does that feel right? Or just have like a quick body scan and say, oh, does something feel off about this? You will know within you if it feels, good or bad, or if there's something connected to it that you're not quite sure of. And that's the pause practice. And that's the part that I really love because it starts to help us have a small shift to being really connected to our intuition again and asking ourselves what the answer is. Like, does it feel good?
Hmm.
Um, and having trust, that is the root of both psychological wellness and intuitive clarity.
Yes, I love that. I love the pause practice, actually taking those pocketfuls of presence and coming back to self, tuning back in, because through the day as well, your needs are going to change. And I was having a conversation earlier about how, you know, say when I was studying in childcare, for example, what we were learning was each child is completely different, completely individual with their own differing needs. Even if, say, there was, the early years framework and key stage, like, yes, there may be like a general or an idea, but every child is different. So you had to approach everything. And I feel like I've taken that in my life also, just even with connections, and I'm trying to really develop that with myself, as in, even throughout the day, my needs will change. And just like a small child, there is still probably a small child within me who
Of
has
course it is.
needs,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Of course it is. And I mean, just talking about children there, one of the techniques that we do is inner child, and we speak to our inner child. What does our inner child need? Of course, there's still an inner child
Yeah.
there.
And a lot
And
of
it's all
people
about,
don't know that, do they?
no,
They
and it's
feel
all about
like,
reconnecting, nurturing, looking back at things that might have happened in your childhood that are
mm,
impacting you now, reconnecting with that, showing that child love, and really
mm,
just wrapping comfort around them, because that is still within you. Those things that happen, those experiences are still there. They're just potentially in the shadow, and you're looking to bring those into the light, really reconnecting with it so that we can get to a place where we are happy within ourselves constantly.
yeah.
And I add in that word constantly because I think so many of us are living on this roller coaster where we're like, oh, no, I am happy. No, no, everything's fine here. I am happy. And I'm
Mhm.
like, who are you trying to fool? Because last week you were not happy. You were, crying in your car at the school drop off. I saw you at the
Mhm.
gates. So, and
I
as we
saw you
said,
at the
it's okay to
gates.
have, saw you at the gates. And as I said earlier, it's okay to have those days. Sometimes that is natural. But when you're on this roller coaster ride and you're feeling like whiplash, like I'm being pulled back and forth
Yeah, if you're
here,
having the
like
same experience, like the same triggers
yeah,
and the same, there's something beneath the surface that's like a wound
exactly,
there that needs addressing. And
exactly.
I think
Yeah,
it's, as you were saying there, it's really important to highlight, that you do have different, like you have so many parts within you that may have just been exiled, shunned, pushed aside, whether that's you have an inner child and inner teenager. There are different parts of you
yeah.
frozen in time. just because your mind doesn't remember, your body does. Like the body
Yeah.
really does keep the score. And I think connecting with your intuition and developing that connection is your superpower. And I think it cuts through the noise, the bullshit, all the external stuff.
Yeah.
It really does propel you. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Like I feel for me with that's been a big part of helping actually my mental wellness is connecting with my intuition.
Yeah, and I mean, at the beginning there, we were just discussing how your mental wellness is connected, because if we're disconnected with ourselves, we're disconnected with our intuition, which has a knock-on effect for our mental wellness.
Yeah, we need that mind, body, soul connection. I think in the Western world, especially, it's very logical, just one way, maybe traditional senses, but actually intuition has always been there. This has been, this isn't this new buzzword, this like latest trend. If you just look back at history in itself, most of the great artists, painters,
Mm-hmm.
architects, etc., like scientists, what have you, were so connected to their intuition
Yeah,
regardless of any external noise. And the change makers of the world were connected to stuff that were not physically in this realm yet. They created it. They were the
yeah,
change that they wanted to see in the world. Yeah, and I just
yeah.
I just
This
think
it is
it's
amazing.
yeah.
Okay. Now, I would like to take you through a little practice. So if you're driving, maybe click pause, because if it feels right, I'd like you to close down your eyes and I will guide you through a short self-awareness grounding practice. And
I would
it'll
like
just
to
be,
participate if that's okay. I'm just gonna be
yes, of
comfortable.
course. Just get
Just so
comfortable.
yes, if you're driving, obviously pull over, please.
Or click pause. We don't
Yeah,
expect you to drop everything
true,
for us.
yeah.
Just
Yeah, what am I
just
saying?
click
Yeah,
pause.
stop what you're doing right now.
Pull over right now. Yeah, just click pause and you can maybe pick it up later on. So yeah, if it feels right, just where you are, get comfortable, and we're just going to do a few breaths to try to ground and reconnect with ourselves. So just closing down the eyes, or just softening your gaze, whatever feels comfortable for you. And I'd like you to take a slow breath in. Just in through your nose and then exhaling fully out through your mouth. Just taking a couple of breaths like that to sink into the space. Just feeling that you're here in this moment. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just letting go of anything that's happened in your day or your week. Just being here in this moment. Maybe doing a body scan through your head, feeling your cheekbones relax, your jaw drop down, your shoulders fall away, feeling yourself going deeper and deeper into your body. Really quieting down the noise, just being here in this moment. And now I'd like you to ask yourself, what am I feeling? No need to label it, just noticing, how do you feel? And what do I need right now in this moment? You might be feeling tired, feeling like you need a rest. Maybe you have been sitting at a desk all day and you feel like you need some movement. Or maybe you just need some simple kindness. Just sitting here, just thinking about what you need in this moment. And just whatever comes to you, letting that answer be enough. And now I would like you to breathe in slowly for a count of 4. And hold. And then exhale for a count of 6. And again, breathing in for 4. Holding at the top. And exhaling for a count of 6. And now I would like you to bring your awareness to your chest. What do you notice here? Is there a tightness, a warmth, maybe just stillness? We're just observing, no judgment, just speaking to your body, getting to know ourselves, making that reconnection, and just learning to listen to our bodies. Just taking a couple of moments to really listen to what our body is telling us. And when you're ready, I'd like you to take a couple of final last breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when you're ready, flicker open your eyes.
Wow, welcome back.
Hello, welcome back to the room, Megan,
Back in
and
the
everyone else who
room.
participated. And I hope that nobody did do that whilst they were driving.
I hope not, because that was really beautiful. Thank you. It's always an absolute joy to be taken through something rather than maybe always being the one to do it or talk about or like it's really lovely to, I think, to have that time and space for that. So yeah, thank you for that, Joanna. That was beautiful.
You are very welcome. And for anyone who liked that little taster, there is a link to a free meditation that Megan and I have done on our Instagram page, which you can
Exciting.
find there. Or if you can't find it, send us an email and we will happily send you the link. So that brings us to the end of our episode nearly. I guess a gentle reminder that mental wellness isn't a checklist. It's not something you achieve and then you forget. It's a relationship that you have with your body, connecting to your thoughts, your emotions, and your intuition. Intuitive psychology isn't about bypassing the hard emotions or ignoring the science behind it. It's about bringing the heart back into healing, listening to the wisdom that we carry, not in our minds, but in our nervous systems, our breath, and our dreams. So I invite you today to start to listen to your body, really start reconnecting with it and asking your intuition what you need. Today, you have taken a step toward strengthening that relationship, and that matters more than you know. So, thank you for spending this time with us. If this episode helped you feel more grounded or seen, consider sharing it with someone else who might need a moment of calm. Remember, your mind is wise, your body is listening, and your intuition is valid. Be gentle with yourself. You're doing the work. As we close today, I invite you to stay curious. What might shift if you asked yourself each morning, what is my inner compass guiding me towards today?
Amazing. And I know that we have only just scratched the surface of intuitive psychology and reconnecting back to yourself. So if this was something that interested you, then please do let us know. Or if there's something else that you would like us to discuss, our DMs are always open. So please drop us a message and we're always here to listen and we will deliver. So, yeah, if this resonated, please do share with a friend, but also get in touch and let us know what you
Yeah,
loved.
yeah.
Amazing. Oh, thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. I hope you've enjoyed as well. And we will see you very soon. Love you. Bye.
Bye.